Welcome to episode 1436 of The Sleeper in the Bus. I am Justin Mason, joined by Jason Collette. How you doing, my friend?
I'm back. Road trip. I had to drive my daughter up to George Mason for the Washington Washington Journalism and Media Conference. So she got to spend the week up there and got to see Nationals Park. Didn't get to go inside of it, but had dinner outside. She's like, "Oh, hey, look, Nationals Park." And then she got to meet some of the folks that do some of the stuff with the Capitals and the Wizards and the Mystic and a whole bunch of other stuff like that. So she had a good camp, but a lot of driving yesterday to get back from Northern Virginia. We did the scenic route, and Mother Nature gave us a lot of precipitation on the way home too. So I am happy to be back in my house. How are you?
I'm doing all right. My wife had a family reunion type thing yesterday, so a little burnt from that, and then we're going to a concert tonight. And so I was up till 3 o'clock in the morning doing FAAB and writing and stuff because I knew I wasn't going to be able to write when I got home tonight. So I'm kind of dragging right now. But that is what it is. And we're going to just push through and talk about some FAAB. But we got some news and some kind of notes to discuss first. Let's jump right into that. Isaac Paredes, he suffers a hamstring injury. He is going back to Houston for MRI. This definitely sounds like he's going to hit the IL. Are you holding on to Isaac Paredes, kind of waiting for the news, or are you going to be preemptive and drop him today?
Not preemptive dropping him. I mean, it's Houston, so this could be anywhere from he's fine to he's being amputated. In all seriousness, it's been crazy what's gone on with the Houston staff and Yordan Alvarez. I have him in GDD, and I already have lost Austin Riley, and I have to care. We don't have an IL, so I'm hoping I can get Austin Riley back here because I've benched Isaac Paredes in that league already, and I moved in Luis Arias to corner, so obviously that's a big power drop-off, but that's what I had available to me, and then Brandon Lau, who we'll discuss in a minute, I need to replace him, so I may be I don't know what I'm going to do. I may have to drop somebody I don't want to drop because I may need some health here with this situation. But the Paredes situation did not look good. He hit a ball off the wall, and the way he came up with his leg, that doesn't look like a mild cramp or a tweak. That looks like a long-term thing.
Yeah, that it looks like it's going to be at least a month. And so I actually don't have a problem with you dropping him. I may hold him through this week. I'm in a similar situation where I have Paredes and Austin Riley. And my option right now is Zach McKinstry and whoever's on the wire, which isn't very much in this deep of a league. So I don't have a problem dropping him if you're kind of in that situation. I may try to hold through this FAAB period unless we get news today. But more likely than not, he's going to end up on the waiver wire in a lot of leagues because I would guess he's going to miss a month, if not more.
Yeah, I mean, the MRI, unfortunately, I think the MRI is Monday. I don't know if the medical people don't work on Sundays. I don't know. But it looks like the MRI is Monday. So you're going to have to maybe wait at least a week. But just go watch the video and make your own determination. It did not look good. But I'm in second place in this league. I'm 3 points out of first. And I'm really hesitant to make the drop. So I may keep Paredes here for a week, wait on the news. And if it's anything, any uncertainty with that news, I will probably just drop him given Houston's track record this year.
Yeah, and we're getting to that point in the season where you have just a little over 2 months left in the season. So anytime someone's going to miss a month or more, he becomes a drop pretty instantly. It really doesn't matter how good of a player they are. You're not holding on for more than a month at this point. Alec Boehm goes to the IL with a fractured rib. Are you holding on to him?
What is it with San Diego pitchers hurting Phillies? Yeah, it's like they hit Trey Turner, and then they hit Alec Boehm. Yu Darvish hit Alec Boehm. I believe it was before the All-Star break. And then Boehm went to go play. I was listening to the Phillies broadcast on the drive home yesterday, and they were talking about that Alec Boehm, I believe, tried to play on Friday night and then didn't feel great. And then they went in and found a fractured rib. Found a crack in that rib. So, I mean, this could take a few weeks again. 60 games left in the season for the most part. Yeah, I kind of may have to drop him.
Yeah, the reports right now are it's going to be about 3 to 4 weeks before he returns.
Yeah, that's cuts, Bill.
Yeah, I think that means you can cut Alec Boehm. He's one of these guys too where he really relies upon being an accumulator, right? He doesn't have prodigious power. He doesn't have a lot of speed. He does make a lot of contact and can help your average, but with less volume, he can't really affect your batting average quite as much. So I think he is a pretty easy drop in all formats, and you're just kind of moving on to someone else.
Yeah, that's cuts, Bill.
Brandon Lau left the game with a plantar fasciitis issue. This is an issue he's been dealing with on and off. He's also been dealing with other issues recently. Are you holding on to Brandon Lau right now?
I want to. He used to have this plantar fasciitis issue when they played at Tropicana, and they would say, "Oh, it's the turf, having to play on the turf." Well, they're on grass, and they've been on grass for a few weeks. Situation. So this shouldn't be. Lau's dealt with the back. He's dealt with the foot. That Lau has had his issues with staying on the field. And this is just one of those things you pay. In that same league that I have Paredes, I also have Lau, as I mentioned earlier. But I do have some options to move some guys around. So like I can put move Arias to second base, move Sheets to the corner, and put Trent Grisham back in my lineup. Sweet benching of him this weekend after a 2-for-5 with the Grand Slam last night. I want to see what the reports are. They said it wasn't. I mean, Lau had just come off the IL with this, and now he's dealing with this issue. He's not in today's lineup, but that's not a surprise. Trevor Rogers is pitching, and so Lau would have been out anyhow. But let's see what happens on Monday. He's kind of on the wait and see list. But if you absolutely have to make a tough decision, I wouldn't be upset with you if you made the cut.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to hold if I can right here, especially because unlike Alec Boehm, Brandon Lau can make a difference, right? 19 home runs this season. There's a lot that he can do to impact your team from a power perspective rest of the way, especially in that stadium. So I would try to hold on to Brandon Lau if I could. And kind of wait and see if we get a timeline here over the course of the next.
Well, remember they don't have too many home games left.
After
they had 27 coming into the break, they have the 6, so they have 21 after Wednesday night. Okay, so that's another thing to keep in mind.
Yeah. John Gray is closing in on being activated. Do we care?
I mean, if you're in an AL league, maybe. He threw 61 pitches in his rehab start. So the note from last night, he allowed 1 run on 3 hits and 2 walks by striking out 5 over 3 2/3 for Triple-A Round Rock, 37 strikeouts. So it's like if you were holding on to him, waiting to see what happens here. Now, the thing for me is, do they bring him back in the rotation? Because they have a bullpen need, and could they bring him back in the bullpen and do what we've long wanted them to do and try him out in the bullpen? So they're 49-49. So the Rangers are trading. I saw some rumors this morning with them possibly looking to acquire something out of the bullpen from another team type of situation. We can talk about that in a minute. So I care if I'm in an AL league, and we do try to entertain all versions of listeners here. So that's the reason why I wanted to bring this up, but not terribly excited about it unless you're in an AL only league.
Yeah, I think this is the deepest of leagues. He has yet to go even 4 innings in a minor league rehab start. So it's probably going to be a little bit before he can go 5, and there is the opportunity where they say, hey, I'm going to make you kind of a long reliever moving forward to keep you healthy. So
turn him into Louis Varland. I mean, honestly, Varland's been really good for the Twins out of that situation. Turn him into Louis Varland.
They could. The Orioles are about ready to just trade off everyone. Eflin, Morton, Sagano, Sanchez, Dominguez, O'Hearn, Mullins, Soto are all pending free agents. Who do you think benefits the most from relocation? And does anyone stand to benefit from open conditions right now?
I mean, honestly, it's a fascinating situation from multiple fronts here because the Astros, the Yankees, and the Blue Jays each have 7 remaining games against Baltimore. And that's starting, like, I didn't look at this week's schedule. I just looked at, like, hey, who's got what left? And so 3 contending teams have 7 games each. So at least it's an even playing field there against whatever's going to be left of Baltimore. Now, I know Adley Rutschman's on a rehab assignment. He should be back here soon. but the structure of this team could dramatically change, and it could be terrible. I mean, their bullpen, their starting rotation, Baltimore starting rotation has had problems all year, but their bullpen has been fantastic. That's really been one of the things. And the seventh and eighth guy with Sir Anthony Dominguez and Gregory Soto could be out. And then now who's the bridge to get to Bautista? And if like you are counting on saves from Bautista the rest of the way, it's already been a challenge for you. And now there could be struggles for them to stay in games, for that bridge to get from the 6th, 7th, and 8th to get to Bautista. And so there's so many different factors coming into play here. That's why I find this fascinating here, because they still have their young core, but then it's like, okay, who steps up? Like, does Ramon Urias get some more playing time? I don't know if anybody in the rotation. I mean, Dean Kramer looks good when he's facing my Rays for whatever reason. The guy just dominates them, but he's been all over the place. Otherwise, Trevor Rogers has looked good recently. Brandon Young is going to be in the rotation now, so that could be somebody, but I don't know if anybody really steps up in the bullpen. I've seen some interesting stuff from Colin Selby. He's, I watched him pitch the other day, and I was like, that's intriguing in a very, very deep, like a AL only type of situation with that. But I don't know if anybody gets the chance to step up here. Maybe it's like, okay, we have these prospects that we've refused to trade, and now, okay, Heston Kjerstad, come back up and let's see what you can do. We're not going to play with your playing time anymore. But yeah, other than that, I really don't know if what's going to happen here. I don't know if any of the guys being dealt are really going to be impacted as far as playing time or conditions. We really have to see where these guys land. I would love to see somebody like O'Hearn or your Mullins like get into a situation where they can, especially Mullins, be a little higher in the lineup type of situation, and O'Hearn be somebody where he can, use his skills as a strong side platoon guy and drive in those runs.
Yeah, we know a lot of these guys are going to get moved, right? I mean, Mullins has been rumored all season long as a guy that could get moved at the deadline. O'Hearn definitely should. You could also see like Laureano get moved. You could, see a number of these pitchers. If Eflin is healthy, they've already pushed back his rehab. He was supposed to get a really juicy 2 start versus the Guardians and the Rockies this week, and he's not going to get activated at least by the beginning of the week. So
who's that? I'm sorry,
Zach Eflin.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, then I was thinking like Rodriguez too. That's not even happening. Like I don't even know he's going to pitch the rest of the year.
Yeah. So it sounds like Rodriguez is done for the year. So Grayson Rodriguez. So it's going to be really interesting to see. We got about 10 days until the trade deadline, but I would expect a lot of these guys to get moved here.
Laureano's an interesting one. I didn't even include him in it because he's ARB eligible still, so he's still affordable, but he's having a great season. I was just looking at the numbers. He's already tied his home run total from last year. He's tied his run production from last year. He's exceeded his RBI production. And Laureano's hitting 20 points higher this year while he's reduced his strikeout rate. And he's a guy that can play all 3 positions in the outfield, really has a strong throwing arm out there. And selfishly would love to see him on my team. But this is one of these things where Baltimore should be cashing in Laureano.
Yeah.
But given Mike Elias's track record, maybe they just hold him and then he flops next year. But this should be one of those situations where they're cashing him in, because I could see a lot of contenders reaching out and saying, this guy's got trade. We value these skill set.
Yeah. I mean, especially at 31 years old, he's been paid $4 million this year. And I believe he has, I'm double checking this. Yeah. He has a team option next year for $6.5 million. So, I mean, they could keep him. They could, and then just exercise that $6.5 million option. That's a really, really cheap option. You kind of hope they do move him along with Mullins to open up that spot for Kjerstad. Like, I just don't understand why they continue to block him off, especially now that they have Tyler O'Neill back. They need to kind of move 2 of these guys to kind of give Kjerstad that full-time playing time in the outfield, but they could easily keep Laureano. If $6.5 million is nothing on a team.
It really is. I mean, and he's such a weirdo, like splits wise this year. He crushes righties and he crushes it at home. He sucks against lefties and he sucks on the road. It's like, how is this happening for him? But I was just looking at his splits, hitting 297 at home. I mean, 297 against righties, and he's hitting 325 at Camden. and he's hitting 229 away from Camden and hitting 243 against lefties. Just one of those weird reverse splits, if you will, type of situation. But the first half, the numbers were there, and like I said, that's a skill set that belongs on a contender's bench at a minimum.
Yeah, especially when he can play all three outfield positions, like similarly to Cedric Mullins. Yeah, like they're gonna have a lot of say kind of in this trade deadline. So definitely something to watch. We're hearing a lot of Finnegan and Bednar rumors. Are you like going to the wire to pick up anybody in particular in case these guys get traded? Like Dennis Santana in Pittsburgh is kind of the clear next man up. However, he could get traded as well.
That's right, and that's kind of why I wanted to bring this up. I mentioned with the Rangers that they're constantly been looking for something in the bullpen. I saw something this morning that had tied them to possibly kicking the tires on Finnegan and Bednar with situation. But this is the week if you want to get in the FAAB this weekend. This is when you want to try to spec on who's going to be there. That way you're not paying a crazy digit. But I your point's well taken that Santana could also be moved, and then like who else could possibly come up and do something? Is it Isaac Mattson in that bullpen? Like it could be a committee situation. Maybe it's I don't know what else they could possibly do there in Pittsburgh for something, but they could look at Colin Halderman, call up somebody. I don't know if anybody's going to be there, but like I know in a 12-team NL only, I'm dead last in saves. I'm going to be trying to do something. I'm trying to trade prospects to do something, but that's the team I inherited, and they're in a situation. And the team, I just need to find some saves. And then even with Baltimore, with Washington, maybe it's Jose Ferrer, maybe it's Cole Henry, maybe it's Luis Garcia. I mean, these are the guys that are pitching in that situation, or it's old reliable Andrew Chafin. But again, we're probably talking. No, I don't see anybody from either club. I would take the under on anybody from either club saving 7 games the rest of the way.
Yeah, I think that's where I'm at too with both of them. Other situations to kind of monitor, like go pick up Reed Detmers. I don't know if we put him.
We do.
He's down there. All right, so we'll talk about him because Kenley Jansen's probably going to get moved. Maybe some other options
Atlanta. I don't know if Raisel Iglesias is on the last year of his deal. He may have finally pitched his way out of his role last night, and so maybe it's potentially Dylan Lee. I mean, not that Atlanta is treading water, if you can call it that. And so, there's an opportunity there. Maybe it's Pierce Johnson, maybe it's Dylan Lee or situation, but Dylan Lee blew his own yesterday. And then Iglesias put the nail in that coffin.
Dylan Lee hasn't been great either. He's allowed runs in 3 of his last 4 appearances. And he has been shaky. So, I mean, Pierce Johnson seems like he could be, but he's easily someone who's going to be traded, right? They have to move Pierce Johnson. I can't remember how old he is at this point, but it's
34.
Yeah, it's got to be up there. So that is another situation that could be really, really interesting to see. One other one that I didn't put on the rundown, but maybe we should talk about real quick. Do you think the Royals maybe trade Carlos Estevez? He signed a 2-year deal for $22 million. So he's only got 1 year left after this. They've got Lucas Ursag they can kind of backfill with pretty easily. You think any chance Carlos Estevez gets moved?
Yeah, I would put that at like maybe a 40-60 type of situation where they absolutely should. Like you said, they have other options. And it's pretty clear he's not the same guy this year that he was last year. The situation with that. So if they could get the right offer and try to find something, yes. Otherwise, it's same old. But it's going to be tough for them to get what they want out of that. I mean, yes, there are some teams that need some relief, but at the same point, I can look and say, geez, I mean, we're talking about a guy whose strikeout rate has decline with Estevez from 27.8 to 19.8. We're talking, I mean, a reliever with a below average strikeout rate is going to be a tough sell.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about some more FAAB. We'll hit some more reliever stuff here at the end of the pod. But we're going to start in the infield. We'll start at first base with Andrew Vaughn, who's come up and played fairly well in Milwaukee. He was part of that Savali trade. He went to the minor leagues, And then when they lost Reese Hoskins, they've brought up Vaughn. Are you picking up Vaughn anywhere this week?
So I saw an interesting note in Joe Sheehan's Slack channel this morning. Somebody had posted something, and they had a note: Milwaukee, 18 games over 500, and they listed the stats. They are last in team barrel rate, last in exit velocity, second to last in launch angle, 20th in expected batting average, 28th in team expected slug, 24th in expected WOBA, 29th in expected weighted on base average on contact. They are first in soft hit percentage, first in infield hits percentage and hits, like all of that. Like, how in the hell are they doing it? So Andrew Vaughn may be like the best hitter just rolling on this team overall, jokingly, but it's just like their pitching is carrying them right now. And this hitting and this timely hitting, it's kind of crazy. It's whatever the opposite of Harvey's wall bangers would be. Harvey's dirt diggers. I mean, this is just what we're getting out of this situation. So yeah, I did buy Vaughn. I tried to buy Vaughn in one league, and somebody else really was aggressive last week in the situation, but I would, because this guys are getting on base. And as we've said off, RBI is a skill of opportunity. And if Andrew Vaughn can stay in the lineup and take advantage of these guys continuing to get on base as they are, despite all the data against it, then yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's in the middle of the lineup playing pretty regularly. Been hitting fifth most days when he is in, since being brought up by the Milwaukee Brewers. He is hitting 350, 444, 750 with 2 home runs, 12 RBIs. And the underlying skills look pretty good. He's making good in-zone contact, not swinging outside of the zone, hitting the ball hard. I think Vaughn is someone you're picking up. Once Reese Hoskins comes back, they're going to have an issue, right? But for now, I think this is a pretty easy pickup here for Andrew Vaughn.
Yep.
Davis Schneider's playing more, and he's going to be doing Davis Schneider things where he does have some pop in that bat, but he strikes out a little bit too much. Where are you at with Davis Schneider? I mean,
he's in a clear platoon situation with Joey Loperfido right now. So when there's a righty on the when there's a lefty on the mound, Davis Schneider's out there. When it's a righty, it's Joey Loperfido right now. So the Janet, I really has to look at the schedule to see what Toronto's schedule is and what their matchups are going to be for that situation. I mean, Snyder is what he is. I mean, he will go out there and he's trying to pull it and elevate it. And when it works, it works. And I'm looking at the schedule this coming week. I don't know the
three lefties. They've got the Yankees with Rodon and Max Fried coming, and then they're at Toronto with Tariq.
No, they're at Tigers. Yeah.
Or sorry, at Detroit with Tariq Skubal. So you got 3 lefties on the docket this week.
And 3 good ones too.
three really good ones.
If Fried's blister is fully healed, he's got 3. Those are some tough matchups. So that, to me, I would fade unless I'm in a nail only situation. But he's going to be in the lineup 3 times, but he's going to have to earn his keep against those 3 guys. So I would fade. He wouldn't be a primary target in a nail only league this tonight for FAAB.
Yeah, I think you're right there. Let's just move on then. Cole Young has been hot over the last couple weeks. Are you picking up him anywhere?
I would play hot streaks if I could. With Seattle, we know what they can do with their offense, and I would take the chance. I haven't seen their schedule with things, but I would take a chance with their particular schedule. I'm also looking at their strength of schedule. They have a rather soft strength of schedule. Seattle does the rest of the way. Mm-hmm. They still have. So it's not like a week by week thing. They have 3 against the Rockies, 3 against the White Sox, 6 against the A's, 3 against Atlanta, 3 against Baltimore, 3 against Kansas City. And so in the AL, they have the 4th easiest strength of schedule the rest of the way. So it's just something to think about with Young and anybody else with Seattle, is they got a pretty nice strength of schedule here the rest of the season.
Yeah, they're facing Milwaukee at the first half of the week, and then they go to the Angels. So you'll really like that second half of the week. They got a 7-game week 2, 4 games against the Angels, 3 games against the Brewers. I like Cole Young a lot. I think he is a perfect kind of an accumulator type. Like, he doesn't have a ton of power, doesn't have a ton of speed, but he makes a lot of contact and does a lot of everything.
Yep.
He's been hot as of late, 2 home runs since July 9th. So I would be picking him up, and I think he's eligible at second and short in a number of formats, which is always nice.
Just second, unless they use minor league eligibility.
I think he came up as a shortstop,
Okay.
and so now he's got second base as well.
Here's the other thing. How about steal a base, dude?
Yeah.
He hadn't even attempted. He has 0 caught, 0 stealing, but he has multiple 20 stolen base seasons in the minors.
It's hard when you're batting 8th and 9th because he's been batting 8th and 9th all year.
Yeah.
So
steal a base. Victor Caratini stole a base last night. Don't tell me it's hard.
What about Nathan Lukes? He's been playing quite a bit in Toronto. Where are you at on Lukes?
Yeah, the Toronto situation fascinates me because you look at that lineup and you're just like, how are they on this winning? They came to Tampa Bay, not to make everything all Rays, but they came to Tampa Bay at the end of May, and the Rays swept them, outscored them 17-2. And since then, Toronto has looked like a World Series team. They've been unbelievable. And the thing that you have to like about Luke's is he's in the line. It's not a strict platoon. Like I know on Roster Resource, we have him as a strict platoon, but he's played against one of the lefties. But if it's a righty, he's leading off. And as long as he's leading off in front of Springer and Guerrero and Bichette and Barger, I would like to have Nathan Lukes in a shallower mixed league. No, he's still not playing enough. I need that everyday playing time. But in a 15 team, yes. I mean, we made the comment earlier. They have 3 lefties next week, so that would be 4. That would be 4 games for at a minimum, potentially 5. But when he plays, they have a 7-game week, so that should be 4 games at a minimum for Lukes. And if he's going to play against a lefty, it'll be down in the lineup. But that's going to give him a chance to lead off in 4 games and potentially hit against and lower in the lineup against one of those. So that's a 5-game week, hitting leadoff 4 times. Yes, please.
Yeah, and like even if he sits against those lefties, those were the lefties that were really, really good, right? We're talking Rodon, we're talking Fried, we're talking Skubal. So like if he sits against those lefties, you're actually okay with that,
right?
Because of the talent of those lefties and the righties that he's going up against, not nearly as talented. So I like Lukes. I think this is a really, really interesting guy, especially if he continues to get starts against lefties as well. Right now, he is in kind of that strong side platoon. But he, like you said, he's leading off when they're up against the righties. So that's really, really good. I like Lukes as a kind of sneaky pickup this week. Jordan Walker is back from the IL, the minor leagues. He wasn't hurt. He was just bad. Any interest in former top prospect Jordan Walker?
Yeah. How old do you think Jordan Walker is?
I mean, I know how old he is, which is insane.
He's 23. He only turned 23 2 months ago, but he is on the Eloy Jimenez track to irrelevancy. If you just look at where he was and what he has done, the gap between his potential and his production is a chasm, like a Grand Canyon chasm. I have him in that aforementioned 12-team NL league, and I am not putting him in my lineup this week.
Yeah. He has only had 1 hit in 5 games, 1 hit in 2 games since returning. But he was terrible. He was terrible when he was up last time. There is power potential here, but he's got to be playing full time, and he has to also be hitting in order to unlock it. I think I'm kind of waiting to see if there's a hot streak coming, but so far he's been 1 for 8 since returning. So I'm not.
It is crazy. It is crazy to look at what he was projected to be, and where Walker is still. I mean, yes, he's still young. He's 23. There are several guys older than him that I will probably see playing later today as Durham takes on Charlotte here in North Carolina. But wow, this is I still can't believe all the hype that we saw around this guy and how Walker's flaws have continued to be exposed. And maybe it's just a change of scenery thing that would serve him well, but I don't know. I
think this is a really good test case in terms of top prospects. We always hear like, oh, this prospect go up, he's gonna be great, blah blah blah. But we also kind of ignore the red flags that scouts talk about. And there was a lot of talk about Walker having a massive hole in his swing, and those things don't often get fixed at the major leagues. If you got a hole in your swing at AAA, that's usually a problem for when you get to the majors. When you're going up against the best pitching in the world. So I think we need to just be more careful and really listen to scouts, really listen to the prospect guys when these guys come up. If we hear, a major red flag like that, it's something to, kind of keep in mind and not go crazy over.
And the hole in his swing back then, from when we saw Walker in the AFL, it was that he was opening up too much. It wasn't as like, hey, a foot in the bucket type of the old traditional foot in the bucket, but it wasn't that far from it. And there was that, hey, Walker's long enough to cover some of that. But guess, if you could see it at the AFL and, scouts that you and I were standing around were saying, look at that. Yeah. And then here we are. We're still seeing some of these things. And when you watch where he's getting attacked, it's some of those same situations. And when you fix one thing, then another hole. So if he starts, okay, I'm not going to do that. Now Walker's getting jammed on things on the inner half, and he can't do that. So it's baseball's a constant game of adjustments, and you fix one problem, you create another. You can't, Joe Madden years ago would say, only the best of the best can cover both parts of the plate. Like, you have to be zoning, and that's why you see these guys. And they're like, oh man, why did he take that pitch? Well, he was looking in, and it was out and away, and he was not prepared to make that adjustment type of situation. So only the best of the best can cover everything.
Yeah. Let's move behind the plate and talk about Adrian Del Castillo. This is a prospect for the Diamondbacks who's had some major league time, and people have been excited about him in the past. The hard part is, how much is he going to play in Arizona, and does he have enough power potential to offset the potential strikeout issues that have popped up over the course of the last couple seasons? He was great in AAA this year, or in the minor leagues this year. 7 home runs in 28 games, 299 batting average. Are you picking up the Del Castillo?
I thought it was kind of interesting for them to bring, for the Diamondbacks to bring Del Castillo up and have him DH. Like they already have their 2 catchers. Yes. He's come up and he's coming up DH. So the cool thing is they're trying to get him into the lineup. So if you are in a situation where you're hurting at second catcher, yes, I would take the chance here. Throw a couple of bucks that way and try to work it out, because they brought him up despite having 2 catchers. So they want to keep that bat in the lineup for now. And, we'll live with it. Last year, we saw a lot of strikeouts around, not a lot of production, but I would take the chance again here.
Yeah, I think I would too, especially in a 2-catcher format, right? In a 1-catcher format, I don't think he is going to be worth playing. But, I mean, this is an Arizona team that has been rumored to be looking to move Eugenio Suarez and maybe Josh Naylor at the deadline. And so there's going to be opportunities. I think Castillo could play first as well if they move Naylor. So I think he's going to have opportunities here. And as a C2 that you can get in for fairly cheaply off the wire, I think he makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of power potential there as a second catcher. So I think Castillo is one of those guys that I would kind of bid on this week.
Yeah, the strikeouts have definitely been present. I was looking for games played to see if I could see where he's played down in the minors. I haven't seen. I don't see anything as far as where he is position eligible.
So, all right.
But, pulled it up fielding. He has only caught this year, and DH'd.
All right, so maybe he is just going to be their full-time DH kind of moving forward, which is always kind of scary because you never really know, like, they're going to give guys, days off at DH or if like Corbin gets banged up again, maybe Corbin Carroll gets banged up again, maybe they move him back there. So that is a little bit difficult, but as a C2, especially in the deeper league, it makes a lot of sense. Let's move over to the pitching side. Zebby Matthews making his return. I thought he was done for the year, but he's scheduled to make a start at the end of the week, which is always a little scary because anything can happen between now and then that kind of pushes him off, kind of like we just saw with Zach Eflin. But are you picking up Zebby Matthews this week? Start against the Nationals, which is a good opportunity.
Why did they have to let him pitch against the Rockies yesterday in Colorado? That was not good. So maybe, if anything, it brought his value down a little bit because I'm looking at 5 runs on 8 hits and a walk while striking out 6 over 4, and he took the loss. So, against the Nationals, it's a matchup. It's a matchup play. Honestly, that's what it is. It's a matchup play. It's just that maybe the fact that he pitched against Colorado may bring his value down a little bit if somebody's not paying attention to that particular piece. But it's a matchup play, something I would put on a waterfall with Matthews. But Minnesota's another team, and look at that, and look at the AL Central standings. It's unbelievable. Detroit could clinch in 2 weeks. I don't know what Paul's going to do with himself the rest of August and September with the situation. But so
just enjoy the ride, I think.
Yeah, I'm a little because of what Minnesota's going to do. I mean, their bullpen has been pretty good, and I would expect them to sell off some of those pieces as they take advantage of a market. You can always get a little bit more for their. I haven't even looked at the contract situation in their bullpen, but Louis Varland will have some value. Brock Stewart, if you believe in the upside, different situations. So they have some pieces they could sell with that. But matchup play overall for Matthews this week.
Yeah, I think this is a really good matchup, especially if you're looking for strikeouts. And there's just a ton of upside with Zebby in there. And now they could also move a number of starting pitchers, right? Like there could be a real fire sale here in
they could get a premium return for Joe Ryan. Like if go knock on Philly's door if you're tired of watching Taijuan Walker pitch, or as my friend calls him, scheduled loss. There
was some Boston rumors going on.
Yeah, that my godson was saying the same thing. He's like, oh yeah, I would love to trade, and Boston certainly has the cachet to pull off that kind of trade situation. So yeah, I would be very curious to see what they got for Joe Ryan. Probably more than Nelson Cruz.
Yeah, plus they could try to unload Paddock, who's a free agent at the end of the year, so he's probably gone as well. So I think there's going to be a spot in the rotation for Zebby rest of the way. And so if you can go and get him off the wire right now, I would. Let's talk about Lance McCullers, who has not been great kind of since joining the rotation and dealt with injuries, but got a pretty good start coming up on the docket, I believe, this week versus the Athletics. I believe, yes, home versus the Athletics can be on Thursday. Any shot you're taking a stream on Lance McCullers?
Again, schedule-wise, because other than that, what are we getting at here? Over his last 5 starts, he's allowed 4, 5, 8, 4 runs, and then he had the one great outing against the Dodgers. Again, how do you explain that one? That's a matchup that you would have run away from. Okay, it's at Dodgers, and then he strikes out 4 and walks 4 and gives up 4 hits, 6 wins, and gets the only win that he's had over these last 5 starts. If you can't use him against Oakland, away from Oakland or Sacramento, whatever, you can't use the Athletics on the road, then you can never use McCullers. This is a pure matchup play if you're hoping for. But again, he has had some matchups previously, like this White Sox outing, 5 runs, 4 runs on that, 4 walks. I mean, that's a White Sox lineup that he should be doing well, that McCullers Jr. should be doing well against, and that was just a month ago. But he has also had some tough matchups, most recently against Seattle, a resurgent Texas lineup, and the Cubs. So the good teams have put a hurting on him, but then the Dodgers, they couldn't do anything against him.
Here's the thing, too. Like, if you haven't gone and listened to yesterday's episode with Paul, where he talked about all the 2 starts, there's a lot of 2 starts this week. And I think I'd rather just take the gamble on Jacob Lopez or take the gamble on maybe some of the high upside 2 starts that are going to be happening this week as opposed to going for McCullers. So as much as Sacramento or the A's or whatever you want to call them, they aren't very good. They have some thump in that lineup, and the McCullers could get beat around pretty easily. So I think I would probably lean towards one of
I would take Matthews over McCullers Jr. as talking about that matchup waterfall. If I'm looking to plug, I would take Matthews over.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that one's easy for sure. It was just hard to find 1-start streaming pitchers for this week. One I did find was Charlie Morton, who's been quietly really, really good in Baltimore, recently. So he's got a start at Cleveland. You prefer him to be pitching at home, but he will line up for a 2-start next week as well. You picking up Charlie Morton?
I've already had him. I picked him up weeks ago, and I've really enjoyed this resurgence. And the outing the other day against Tampa Bay was the first time that he's looked like the Charlie Morton that we all dropped back at the end of April. It was just one of those games where the Rays somehow got to him. I can't explain. Maybe it was the long layoff, but even with that, if you look at what Charlie Morton has done since rejoining that rotation. I'm going to go pull up the numbers here real quick. Even with that stinker the other day, Charlie Morton is still 5-1 with a 3.78 ERA. over that time. And that was, again, the first time that he's allowed more than 4 runs in a start. He had the one Athletics. And again, if you're at the Athletics, you could excuse 4 on runs. That's a quality start there. And then he had the 7 at Tampa Bay. So in the minor league stadiums, Charlie Morton has sucked lately. In other ballparks, he's looked great. And this, maybe he doesn't even make this start. Charlie Morton, maybe he retires after this year. So if I'm a team, I go, I don't know how you hold on to this, but Charlie Morton, you don't have to send a scout to see. Right,
he's gonna get traded.
You know he's gonna get traded. But he may not even make this start this week. That's what I'm saying. Is I
think he'll make this one.
Go make this acquisition.
Oh no, I see.
That's what I'm getting at. It's just like every start he makes will be his last one for Baltimore, and this one coming up, I would assume is going to be his last one. But if I'm a major league, I'd rather have him now and not have him go out there again.
Yeah, I'm surprised he's still on this roster, to be quite honest. But he's definitely going to get traded. I would stream him for this matchup, and then like I said, he will set up for a 2-step if he doesn't get moved. If he gets moved, that could change some things. The beginning of the 2-step for next week would be at Toronto, which is a difficult matchup, but he could be on the move by then. So
the Baltimore defense hasn't been well. Like in this time, his BABIP is 336. His left on base is 77%. Ground ball rate's 44%. It's not full ground chuck anymore, but like I said, his everything pointing in a good direction for him. And this is one of those things that even the whip 138, that's been, and that's for Morton since rejoining the rotation, but a lot of that got laid on him in the previous start. But his strikeout minus walk percentage is 16%. League hitting 258 off of. There's a lot of good there, and with Morton in front of a better defense, I feel there's some hidden value there. So if Morton's somehow still sitting out there on your free agent wire, yes, I would prioritize him over any other player that we've discussed so far.
Let's move into the bullpen and talk about some more options. We mentioned Reed Detmers because Kenley Jansen has to get moved at the deadline. We fully expect him to get traded to a contender. Do you think Reed Detmers is the next guy up in Los Angeles?
Yeah, they might as well try to find something out of that situation with him. Former first-round pick from the 2020 draft. For them, yes, I would give Detmers the next guy to get the baseball. They already have some other lefties there in the bullpen, so they don't have to worry about that. And let's be real, the Angels, the goal is to have Mike Trout do good things. And as the Phillies radio broadcast was saying yesterday, the Angels aren't up there going to hit for batting average. They're up there trying to hit home runs, and they're doing it. Joe Adell has already set a career high in home runs now. At this point of the season, he does 21st yesterday on a line drive shot down left field line and set his career high for home runs. Jorge Soler homered the at-bat prior to that. Zach Neto's got hitting his home runs. And Taylor Ward, not Jorge Soler, but Taylor Ward had homered. So it's like one of these things where they're up there trying to hit home runs. So they're like a fun softball team to watch, but pitching wise, they still have been able to get I don't believe they've had a starting pitcher miss a start. I think they're the only team in baseball that has still had their original guys going out and doing that. So
I think they wish a couple of their starting pitchers had missed a start at this point. But
it is, Jose Fermin gave up the grand slam to Kyle Schwarber yesterday, and so that wasn't. So to me, it's Detmers, and I don't think it's a question.
Yeah, I think Detmers is the next guy up if he's still available in your league. Picking him up now before they trade Kenley, it would be a really, really smart move. May not be available in a lot of 15-team leagues, but in 10 and 12s, he will be. What about Cade Smith? Do you think there's any chance the Guardians finally move Class A?
They should, but they won't. Yeah. So I don't. I've stubbornly held on to Cade Smith in one league, and where I have some bench flexibility, just in case the Guardians do move Class A. I just don't see that happening.
Yeah, I have a hard time believing they will too. Especially because while Detroit is kind of running away with this division, I think long term they look at this division as still really close and that they can compete kind of with what they've got moving forward. So I think they just kind of hold and reset for next season. But if you want to take a gamble that they move Class A because they would get a fair amount for him, you can take a gamble here on Cade Smith because I do think he is probably the next guy up if they were to move him. All right, that is going to wrap us up for this episode. Jason, we'll remind everybody where you can reach and talk about what you got going on.
So at Blue Sky, Jason Collette wrote an article this week looking at Ceddanne Rafaela and how that I infamously said that I was not on Pete Crow Armstrong this year for all the flaws. And I'm still, this is not a big D on my forehead. It's a big L if you're watching the video. But with Rafaela, I'm seeing some of the same types of improvements because the overall numbers on Rafaela are still the profile looks risky. But I've read the article in The Athletic by Jen McCaffrey last week and talked about some of the changes, how he's working, how Rafael has been working with Alex Bregman, but take a look under the hood and then look at the recent improvements. And, it's one of these things where history is a great teacher. And if Crow Armstrong can make those adjustments, why can't Rafaela? And we're seeing him do that in real time right now. Now, do I think he's going to be at this high level? Like he's been an insane level of performance right now, but this is what Boston was hoping to get from him when they gave him that 8-year, $50 million pre-arb deal to get there. And we're starting to see some of those improvements. So, I wrote that as this was a lesson I learned this year, and I'm seeing it play out again here. And I can see Rafaela, his draft stock is going to greatly improve. So we start having those drafts in Arizona, at First Pitch Arizona, you're going to see his draft go up. And on that note, don't forget First Pitch Arizona registrations are now wide open. Mm-hmm. And so there's the discount if you do that before July 31st. And my daughter's coming along this year. She turns 18 the week before. And so she's coming along this year to see all that. And told her that there's a nice pool in the middle. So, you want to go out and do whatever. She wants to try to get a day internship over at Sloan Park. So I got to try to figure out how to coordinate that. If anybody's listening and has a contact over at Sloan Park that you can hook me up with, reach out, please. Because that's what my daughter wants to go to school for. And so doing that, and then I'll be on a podcast here later today, visiting Dugout to talk about the Rays White Sox series and going to see Durham play here in Charlotte. First time they've appeared in Charlotte all year on the AAA schedule, which is really strange since they're in the same state. I'm hoping McClanahan's pitching today, but I haven't seen what the matchup is. But I know he's still on rehab. He had a nice rehab outing last Sunday, but I haven't seen what his schedule has been since.
I've got that just reminded me I need to fill out the form for the FPAS contributors, so that way I can make sure.
I did that. Yeah. I filled out my form the other day myself.
I'm going to do it while I edit this podcast. So you can reach me on social media, Justin Mason FWFB. Read all my work at Fangraphs and Fantasy Pros, and hear me on this podcast and the Friends of Fantasy Benefits podcast. That will wrap us up for this episode. For Jason and myself, thank you for listening. Have a fantastic baseball season.
Take care, folks.